Well, hello there, dudes and dudettes. My name is HW. Today, I want to compare these two FRFR cabinets because they are kind of the two that everyone's talking about. We got the brand new ToneX Cab over there, and we have the ToneMaster FM12, the 12-inch. Both of these cabinets have a 12-inch speaker, but as you can see, the ToneX is quite a bit smaller. I mean, not quite a bit smaller, but it's appreciably smaller than the ToneMaster 12. But they both have a 12-inch driver in there. I'm running a quad Cortex through both of these. I'm going to switch them out, and you're hearing both of these cabinets being picked up by Royer R101 that I would say is somewhere in the vicinity of 2.5 to 3 feet away. So you're going to get a nice in-the-room sound. I have taken the care of dialing in some lovely tones, courtesy of Tone Junkie, which you'll see on the screen. And I've tried to keep the delay and reverb to a minimum so you can sort of just hear some of the room sound and also the differences between these two cabinets without muddying it up a bit. First up, this is a retro sound P90 equipped Les Paul type guitar, and this is what both of these sound like. I'll put arrows and all the little details on the screen. In the room, to me, right off the bat, I think you can hear that the ToneX actually has quite a bit more fullness and bass. The smaller cab actually, to me, sounds a bit bigger, whereas the ToneMaster 12 sounds brighter. Now, one thing, the ToneMaster 12 has no settings for like live or mic or anything like the ToneX does. The ToneX is currently on the mic setting, so I would assume that to be the most flat. Now what I'm going to do is turn the cut knob on the ToneMaster 12, which is kind of the knob that I end up using the most to sort of get rid of some of the high end. It has a bass, middle, treble, and cut. Everything is at noon, but that cut I'm now going to put at half. And I'm going to move the ToneX Cab to halfway between the live mode and the mic mode. This is where I think both of these two FRFRs actually sound their best at these settings that I'm about to show you. Okay, so pretty interesting results to me. I should note also that the ToneX Cab is turned up to about 6, and the ToneMaster Pro, which I think is a little lower in volume right now, is almost all the way up. It is at 11. It goes to 12, like a lot of modern Fender combos. It goes from 0 to 12 rather than 0 to 10, and it's all the way up at 11. The ToneX Cab has quite a bit more heft, low end, and it also has quite a bit more power. It's definitely the louder of the two, although it is the smaller of the two. Now here is what I'm hearing in the room. I'm hearing, like I said, more power from the ToneX. I'm hearing that maybe more lows and mids seem to come in when you get that into that live mode. And the ToneMaster Cab doesn't have anything like that, but what it does have is the cut knob, and I tend to use the cut knob I showed you at the beginning fully all the way open, and then I showed you like straight up and down, everything straight up and down on this ToneMaster cabinet. And to me, that cut knob needs to sit around 4 or 5 to really get a nice like amp in the room type sound. I'm surprised the ToneX is louder, but here's where the two cabs kind of go their different ways, right? The ToneMaster does not have any sort of live or mic settings, but the ToneX does. So what it's trying to do is sort of give you maybe something that you're after with having this as your on the stage kind of sound. You want to hear what the live player would hear, and so what it kind of does is it pulls out a good amount of the maybe some of the high end. Maybe it adds in some punchiness. I'm really not sure, but let me show you that feature right now. So first I'm going to show you, I'll show you all 3 modes of the ToneX Cab, all the way mic'd, all the way on the live mic setting, which is the full like FRFR, halfway between the two, which is kind of where I think it sounds the best, and then all the way on the live setting, which is like sort of the most punchy. You'll hear what I mean. Okay, so you can hopefully hear what those things do. I'm going to now show you something more ambient, because a lot of times that's what I use, that's what I play, and I think a lot of church guys are after stuff like this and are after stuff, and I tried to keep the reverb low, but I want to show you what a totally different kind of sound feels like. I'm going to put both these cabinets back to everything kind of being at noon, including we're going to go halfway between the mic and the live setting, and we're going to take just the we're going to put this thing, or basically we're going to put them both where I think they sound the absolute best. Okay, interesting. Now, I showed you that on purpose because I knew that something with a lot of reverb and a lot of delay like that may favor the cabinet that has less bass. So I kind of wanted to see if all these things are, manipulatable, right? And so now let me try this. Let me turn the bass. Let me switch them. Let me turn the bass up so that this is the more bassy cabinet and that's the less bassy cabinet. Well, the point of these videos is always to help you make your own conclusion, but I'm going to share with you my opinion. If I could only own one, I would take the ToneX Cab. It is smaller, it's a little easier to move around, it feels very well built, and I like having the option of that mic and live kind of thing. I think it does a really nice thing. I think the ToneMaster sounds really good, and until the ToneX, I would have said it was the best thing on the market. But today I'm going to say overall for your modeler, what I would recommend for any modeler is the ToneX. I personally do use a Kemper cone the most with my Kemper, which I probably play the most. But I'm a person who likes an all-in-one unit. I do play the Quad Cortex. I do play kind of everything I own. But for me, I like the Kemper cone. But the Kemper cone, personally, is really just designed for the Kemper. It gives you the ability to do some speaker emulation stuff and speaker imprints, and you need that Kemper cone setting. It's not really meant to be a cabinet that is applied to other modelers. It's just not. You could use it that way, and I know a couple people who do, and they like it. But it will darken the tone a bit. Both of these cabs are, I think, trying to be the go-to cabinet for modelers. In this case, we're using a Quad Cortex. In the last video, I used a ToneX. What I'm noticing from both of these cabinets is the ability to change the sound. The EQs are powerful enough that you can sort of change the sound. So if you do have too much bass, if you don't like that, you can change that. Now, people may be wondering what the point of that EQ is. Well, wait a minute, I thought we just want to reproduce the sound that exists. Well, that's true, but you're going to always be in different rooms, different environments. I'll do another video on this. Different rooms and different environments are going to require different things out of EQ. You may be in a room that has a ton of bass resonance, and so you'd actually want to decrease the bass because you're getting a lot of bass bouncing off the wall, and other frequencies are getting absorbed. So in order to actually hear your sound clearly, you're going to want to use some of those EQs. So I think the EQs in here are really useful. To me, the absolute best, most neutral settings are everything straight up and down on these cabs, pretty much. When I plug in there, I feel like this represents my sound. This might have a tad more bass than is necessary, but that bass knob has 10 dB. All these EQs have 10 dB on the ToneX. So if you just tick that down a little bit, I was able to tick it down halfway, and it got much smaller sounding compared to this. The ToneMaster, I was able to up the bass, and we had all that mud come in, which is what we wanted to do in that experiment. So both of them perform well in terms of the EQ. But if it were me, I'm going to choose that ToneX because there's something about the high end of the ToneX that I really think sounds just very natural, very amp-like, and the amount of bass you want is up to you. This is a 112. If you want it to be thumpier and sound more like a 412, that bass is in there. But again, you can take it out basically. And the more kind of live, the more to that live side you go with it, the more you get like a reduction there and it gets punchier. But even without that, the EQ seems to work. if you have a ToneMaster 12, I think this is a great cabinet. I'm not going to say this is not a great cabinet, but I'm trying to choose a number one between these two. For me, I'm going to go for that one, but they're both great cabinets. I think there's a little more functionality and options there. It also appears you get an XLR in on that side, which I think is a big kind of a cool thing. And there's some software coming out for that, and I think the ability to put an IR on there. So if you're someone who's using, maybe a type of pedal where you want to run an IR live up here, or in your house or whatever, you want to change the IR, or if that's useful to you, maybe you're a Helix or ToneX, maybe you're a Helix or HX Stomp user, you may be finding, hey, I'm running out of DSP. If I can put the IR in my cabinet, similar to the Line 6 Power Cab, I can do that. I do think both of these sound better than the Power Cab, by the way. I will do a video comparing them to the Power Cab and all of them, but unfortunately my Power Cab will not power on. Whoops. So I need to go get that fixed. I hope this has been helpful. In my opinion, these are kind of the two on the market that everyone's talking about. And for me and my money, I'm going to say the winner here is the newer ToneX Cab. But I don't think this ToneMaster Cab is a slouch. I think it can sound great. And I've been very happy with it. I never felt like I was missing out on anything. That one just has a little more power, heft, and volume. And I like some of the features. And if price-wise, I think they're about the same. If you're a ToneX owner, I think you got an offer for $599 on that one, which I think is the price of this one. Correct me if I'm wrong down below, but price I think is pretty comparable. I have not tried the ToneMaster 10 unit, so hey, maybe that's the magic sauce or something. But overall, I would imagine they're pretty similar.